All right, we're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but the hate cannot stop us today. All right, we're back this week inside the New York Knicks, episode 2, 2023 regular season. And we're going to be talking about a couple of topics. Sorry I missed you guys yesterday. I had a completely different show lined up. I was going to be talking about Julius Randle and, why he was playing so bad. Because you know what? I knew last night was going to happen. I knew that Randall was going to come out strong and do his thing, and he did not disappoint. So sometimes you just got to let it sit there, marinate, and then when it hits the fan, it hits the fan. But welcome to the podcast. I am the objective fan straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest. You know the vibes. And we're going to be covering the week between October 29th and November 6th. Action packed week, some of the news topics, last night's game with the Clippers. It was amazing, right? Oh, and I forgot to say this in the live stream, so sometimes it's good to just start over. I will be playing in that Knicks basketball tournament this Saturday. So if you're gonna be in the building, let me know. I will be there with my team. We signed up, and yeah, I'm gonna try to take some footage too, and I'll post it on the channel. So yeah, I can't wait for that. It's gonna be in Brooklyn, I think on Dobb Street or something like that. If you go to the Knicks website, it's on there. And they've been advertising it on every commercial. So I had my boy check it out. He signed us up. So I'll be there this Saturday, November the 11th, in Brooklyn, representing Kings County. You know the vibes. And we coming to win the championship too. So we got an exciting packed show now. If you're new to the podcast, this podcast is dedicated to documenting the Knicks 365, 7 days a week, right? And then we drop that, we divide it into 52, give you a podcast each week, 50 minutes tops, giving you all the Knicks. So you can really literally refer to this podcast later on in the future to look back on the season and get all the notes because we have a website dedicated to this as well, which is still in the works. It's coming and you'll be able to go there and you'll find all the news. So if you ever want to look back, so as long as I'm covering this Knicks stuff, everything that happens with the Knicks will be documented. That's what the point of this podcast. So let's keep it moving because I like to keep us here for 50 minutes tops. So typically I let us wait before we get into the flagship topic, but because I don't know if YouTube is going to hate our greatness, we're going to get right into it, right? So we're going to be talking about last night's win. Definitely a bounce back game at home against the Clippers. Yeah, this game was a masterclass. I was very impressed with what I saw, and I think that the Knicks did a great job in executing the game plan. We knew the Clippers was coming in with a high-powered offense, but the thing that people also have to remember about the Clippers is that they also play a really good defense. So salute to everybody in the building. Salute to Maxine, right? We jumping right into it. We're gonna be talking about the Clippers game. Salute to everybody else who's just listening in to the podcast. Thanks for the support. It's been well. So we're gonna get into it. So I took some notes as I always do. And one of the things I want to say start off with was this game was like a 1990s game. If any of you guys feel the same way, let me know in the chats. I mean, the first quarter score was 21-19. Both teams shot a pathetic 3-point percentage. I think they combined for, what's this, 3 of 21 from downtown. So both teams was locking up defensively. And that's one of the things about this Clippers team that people got to understand that, yes, Harden is kind of like the guy who doesn't want to play defense, but all the rest of these guys can defend. Now, I do think that the Clippers have trouble with size, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of predicted that Julius Randle will have a good night last night because he was going up against Kawhi Leonard, who is a talented defender, but he's just undersized when it comes to guarding Julius Randle. Randle had 27 points. He was efficient and he did his thing. But it didn't start out that way. Both teams had a rough start. Then RJ sort of set the tone. And one of the things I was going to get into yesterday was the fact that you guys got to remember that RJ Barrett was not there. RJ Barrett is their top gun. So going into last week's games with the Clippers and the Bucks, I knew not having RJ would hurt us. Even though the Cavs had, an injured team as well, I don't really care about the ops. I care about my Knicks. And being that we wasn't, we didn't have RJ there, I knew that the offense was going to be in trouble a little bit because RJ was the only Knick to have the knack, according to Walt Clyde, to use one of the Walt Clyde's phrases, the Knick to have a knack. So last night, RJ did his thing. I mean, he was basically unstoppable going to the basket. And this is something I said 2 years ago. I said, One day, RJ Barrett is going to realize that he is virtually unguardable, especially when it's time to attack the basket. And RJ, he definitely, stayed true to form last night. Um, Went to the line a couple of times. I mean, he did his thing. I mean, he was 6 for 6 from the free throw line. Very efficient from the field, 52% from the field, 26 points. The five turnovers is an eyesore, but turnovers in a game like this, in my opinion, doesn't really matter because both teams, if you look at both teams, Knicks had 19 turnovers, Clippers had 22 turnovers. So it was just great defense. The first 3 quarters, it was just great defense from both teams. And then in the fourth, the Knicks sort of, their defense held strong because the Knicks were able to go on a nice little run in the fourth due to the bench. We'll get to that in a second. But RJ Barrett definitely, he has shown me that he has developed the poise to drive the ball the way he's been driving the ball, not trying to force the action too much. Yes, he does force the action at time, but it's within the flow of the game and he's efficient doing it. So I don't mind some of the bad shots and turnovers when he's efficient from the field. He's giving you 4 assists, so he's offsetting his turnovers basically, and he's also giving you 6 rebounds, right? And I'm gonna get to the defense on Paul George, but another key to this game that I noted was definitely the Knicks did not fall in love with the three. Even though, salute to Dwayne. It's so ironic that Julius Randle all of a sudden came out of his shooting slump. And Jalen Brunson took a step back. I believe that there's trouble in paradise. Oh, you know what? I was going to talk about that yesterday. I was going to talk about the little back and forth that Randle and Brunson had. Listen, and salute to you, Dwayne. You know, I'm not sure where you chatting from, but um, I don't want to read too early into the beginning of the season because everyone, if you look out throughout the league, some teams like the Celtics and some teams they have their knack, so to speak, where they're playing to their potential. But it's early. It's very early in the season. And like I said, RJ Barrett, who was the top gun, wasn't in the offense, right? And Jalen Brunson, yes, I know the last game he had 41. We'll get into that. And Randall had 27 and Brunson had a bad shooting night. I'm not gonna say that there's trouble in paradise just yet. I think that winning cures all of those arguments. And so if the Knicks go on a 3-game winning streak, like I think they will, I think we can beat the Spurs and I think we play the Hornets after that, right? I think that we can definitely, change those narratives. Winning cures all, and I think this team is a team that's capable of winning at least 47 to 50 games, right? I haven't seen anything to change that. Brunson is coming off a big game. We'll get to that. So he just had a bad night. I mean, listen, last night was a defensive, especially on the perimeter, paradise. It was some of the best perimeter defense you'll see in the league, and both teams have shot blockers, to help guard the rim. Even though the Knicks didn't really block much shots, they only got one block, and the Clippers only got 3 blocks. That's because they were shooting the lights out. I mean, yeah, I understand the way they're not seeing eye to eye, but it's still early. Like, don't read so much into that because we got Wimby coming in, and am I still live? Okay, I think I am live. Okay. I thought I got disconnected. Okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah, but don't read too much into that just yet. It's too early to think that there's real trouble in paradise. When you're losing games, it's frustrating. But last night win, I think, is going to be the beginning of a new trend. We see Randall get it going. Of course, we saw Brunson get it going a couple of games. He had a good couple of games thus far. But just let it build. Let it build. Don't read too much into that trouble in paradise just yet, right? And to anyone else in the chat, feel free. I do see your comments. I will read the comments as well. This is kind of an interactive podcast when I do the show live. Salute to everybody who just tuned into the building. Hit that like button so more Knicks fans can check out this stream, right? So, yeah, I said the 3-point defense was good. Let's see. They didn't fall in love with the three. Yeah, they took, they didn't allow the 3 ball to take them out the game. They were attacking the basket. Well, not really attacking the basket. It was kind of one of those ugly games early on. They didn't start attacking the basket, especially in transition, till later in the game. But I do want to talk about the defense on Paul George. I mean, Paul George, who is probably the best shooter on that team, he shot 2 for 11 from the field, 1 of 6 from downtown, only 10 points. Though he did have 7 rebounds and 3 steals because, like I said, it was a defensive contest. But I love how RJ, Josh Hart, and DiVincenzo sort of took that task on. And, whenever they were matched up with him, they did a good job of just keeping him out the game because, to be honest, I feel like George was the key in that game because, you know, he he's somebody that typically torches us, and and I know it's a new team too, so like we can't read into it just yet too, because this is their first time playing together. I'm willing to assume with 4 Hall of Famers, the next time we see them, if we see them again, they will be a lot better. So don't get too hyped in terms of thinking that this win makes us like a championship contender. I do think it's a great win, especially because we needed it. But at the same time, this is their first game together. There's some adjustments that the Clippers need to make. But locking up Paul George was definitely a key. And salute to everybody who just joined the chat. We're talking about the Knicks Clippers right now. And this is a This Week Inside the New York Knicks podcast, episode 2. What else I want to talk? I do want to talk about. I want to salute the bench in their entirety and how they closed the third quarter, started the fourth quarter. I mean, they kept the defensive intensity. They were able to knock down some threes. And, they did a good job of making sure the Clippers second unit, even though it kind of was a staggered lineup with Harden out there, they basically shut down the Clippers second unit. I mean, they outscored them in points. The Knicks bench had, they had 33 points, 35 points, and the Clippers bench had 27 points. So the bench did their job last night. That's what we need from this bench, because I feel like we have a top 5 bench. I'm willing to say we have the best bench in basketball, but there are some other really good benches out there too. So I put us in the top 5. So that means on most nights, our bench has to do their job, especially at the end of the third quarter, to either take a lead, cut a lead, or grow a lead. And so the Knicks bench last night did their thing. I mean, Josh Hart, 4-9. Didn't really crash the boards as much because this game was kind of a interesting game in terms of like when you have such great defense, like and guys, guarding elite players, you might not get the stats you normally used to seeing. But what I would like to see from Josh Hart is the 4-9 from the field, right? And sorry, let me scroll down so you can see it. The 4-9 from the field, right? I mean, the 1 for 4 from threes, we could live with that. But overall, he was 4 of 9 from field. He was the one-man fast break that we're accustomed to seeing. And I thought he had a solid night. And like I said, I thought when he was matched up with PG, they all did it. It was a committee, defense by committee. Great job by all of them. But Dante DiVincenzo, man, let me tell you something. This guy is, he is a hustler. He is someone who, I mean, it's like wherever the ball is, he finds himself, he gravitates to the ball. It's like the ball and him is just attracted to each other. He did an amazing job last night. I mean, deflections, then he had a couple of big threes in the fourth, big shots in the fourth, had 6 rebounds. I mean, even though like people would say we have small guards and, certain people say the Knicks suck, we're going to get to that, Mr. Arenas. I feel like our small guards play bigger than, their size, and they showed it last night. And then to wrap this up, I mean, of course, RJ Barrett, 26 points. We talked about that. I'm gonna touch on Mitch and Julius Randle. I love Julius Randle. I feel like his game was the perfect game. I mean, when he started out, going back to you, Dwayne, when you said that you feel like there's static between him and Brunson, right? I felt it early. I felt like there might have been something early because I felt like Randle passed up on 2 shots that I'm like, wait a minute, Randle, these are your shots. We don't need you passing up on these shots, right? It was 2 shots in the first quarter. I think it happened back-to-back consecutively where Randle has the ball, could take a shot or try to attack the basket. He passes the ball. What we didn't realize was that was a strategic move by Randle to make sure that he was not forcing the action. He wanted to make sure he got his team involved, and I thought that was brilliant, right? let's see. Trust me, Randle will be moved either by the deadline or during the off season. The only thing that will hold up is technicalities, who they target. See, okay, Dwayne, I'm glad you said that, being that we're talking about Randle. Now, I would like to have a target. If we're talking about trading guys, I don't like to say let's just trade guys without a target because that will always backfire. Um, and what star player, and that's another thing too. If we're trading Randle, it has to be for a star player. It can't be for somebody who hasn't made an all-star team. So Dwayne, I need you to tell me, who do you want us to trade Randle for before I get into this Randle great night? Because I felt like Randle help silence the critics. I'm not talking about you, Dwayne, specifically, but I feel like a lot of people are just fickle fans, Knicks fans and all fans. I feel like you're watching the season. It's only 6 games into the season. We have 76 games left. Allow it to play out. We need more time. Randall's coming off ankle surgery. I feel like sometimes it's like we in like a 2K mode where it's like we think that, yeah, we have a player. He's supposed to be a superstar. He comes in off injury, and now his attributes is back up to 89. I'm not sure what Randall's 2K rating is. I didn't get the new 2K yet. But if it's 89, we expect him to come off injury and be 89. I mean, he just came off ankle surgery. He normally has a rigorous offseason workout, and that's the reason why he's slumping. But Dwayne, you're probably saying that you wasn't too fond of Randle for the longest now, and I respect it. But at the same time, we can't just move him just to say move him. We have to be strategic. Now, that, like you did say something, you said based off technicalities, right? Who else stays, who goes? But Embiid is no longer a target. We talked about that on the last podcast, right? And I think that was before the Harden trade. I think the Harden trade came after the last podcast. But we said that, Joel Embiid, because the Sixers, it seems as though they're trying to keep Joel Embiid. They want to see how this team does this year. And remember, they're going into next year, they're going to have salary cap room because they have a lot of expiring contracts and movable contracts. So they'll have the means to actually bring a star to Philly. So that's what they're trying to sell Joel Embiid. Look, we have a great team. We're going to do our thing. Let us rock. Give us another year. We're going to have money. We're going to be aggressive. As you see, we traded Harden, and boom. So Embiid is off the table. Now, to Dwayne and to all the other Knicks fans, the only thing you have will keep your fingers crossed the front office doesn't panic and trade for the wrong star. See, that's what I'm saying. We don't want to trade for the wrong star. And Karl-Anthony Towns is the wrong star. I'm going to get to that, Mr. Charlse Barkley, right? But we don't want to just trade Randle for anyone. So right now, the Knicks are not making no trades. Unless, like, Randle gets hurt and we need a power forward, maybe they'll make a trade then. But right now, there's no trades to be made. So what we need from Randle right now is to do what he did last night. Take advantage of his matchups against those small fours, right? Because someone says the Knicks have a small team. I don't know how you look at the Knicks and say the team is small just because we play some guys off the bench. But Randle is the key integral part to any success that we're going to have this season. So, I mean, as long as he's giving you the 25, well, last night it was 27 and 10 and 3 or 4 assists. Now, the 6 turnovers, we could live without, but we dismissed turnovers because this was a great game of defense. We were going up against a really good defensive team, especially on the perimeter. So Randle had a great game, in my opinion, coming off of, where he was at. So, Dwayne, I respect your sentiment because you probably felt like trade Randle for the longest now. All I'm saying is, right now, we can't trade Randle. There's no one to trade Randle for. And the last thing to wrap up that Randle trade part, unless, Dwayne, you want to talk more about it, Donovan Mitchell more than likely will be a Knick. And you probably won't have to trade anything for him. So maybe we should pump the brakes, give Randle a shot. I mean, if Randle, and this is my question to you, Dwayne, or anyone else in the chat. Salute to everybody in the chat. I appreciate it. Even if you're just listening, this is a podcast. It's fine. I'm talking my talk, but I'm also going to interact with the chat. Let's see. Knicks can win in different ways. We didn't have RJ in the last. Yeah, exactly. We didn't have RJ. And I said that, Ricky Chan. Salute to you. I'm not sure if you just tuned in, but I just went on talking about RJ and the fact that last week, that's why we lost those games. It's because RJ, in my opinion, when you don't have your top gun, even if he's not your number one option, but RJ was the top gun at the time, you're going to struggle. And you know, we struggled offensively. So missing RJ was a huge blow. I think that if we had RJ against the Bucks, for sure would have won that game. So Dwayne, I'm okay with Randle, although he's very emotional. He's capable of playing like crap to make a statement. It doesn't take 6 games. But Dwayne, but let me tell you, I see, and you know what? That's New York City for you. That's what makes us Knicks fans. We are the toughest fan base in the league. We're also the smartest fan base in the league, though we do have a lot of numbnuts as well. But at the same time, Randall's coming off surgery, Dwayne. He normally has a rigorous offseason workout. Every offseason, that man puts in a lot of work. He had to scale back. So he's coming into the season doing something that he hasn't had to do in a long time. Randall normally has his off seasons to really, because half of his off season, I'm not saying he didn't work out. I'm just saying half of his off season was just rehab, and that takes a lot. So I respect where you're coming from, Dwayne, because I feel like you're being consistent. You always felt like this about Randall. I'm really talking to the people that was, you know, the fickle Knick fans. That's what I call them, the fickle fans. They're the ones that want to trade Randall because he had a bad first 6 games. But when you're coming off surgery, this is not NBA 2K. You got to give the man some grace. Yeah, exactly. Ricky, you on the money. With RJ on the court, you can't double Randall. And what makes Randall tough is like, and this is something I want them and like I said, read my game post because I just highlighted certain things, but my game post is really detailed. One of the things the Knicks need to also do, and like you're right, Ricky, about the double teaming, you can't double Randall with RJ on the floor and Brunson. But that pick and roll, I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but that pick and roll with Randall and Mitch, man, I want to see more of that. Especially when there's a small four on Randall, you put that little four, in this case was Kawhi Leonard, even though he's a big small forward. He's not a small guy, but he's small for the power forward position. If you put a small power forward and pick and roll with Randall and Mitch, that's a lob every time. I love that. So yeah, early, and then I'm gonna conclude the Clipper game on Mitch. Unless you guys have more comments, we could talk more about this Clipper game because we have more topics to talk about. But you see, Mitch Robinson and RJ, in my opinion, are the MVPs of the season thus far. Mitchell Robinson doesn't have to score, and that's what makes him important to me. He didn't even get a block yesterday. And I don't care about that because he was an intimidating force in the paint. That's why both teams didn't drive, because Zubac also had 2 blocks. I think Zubac had 2 blocks. So both teams, he did have 2 blocks, right? So both teams had inside guys that defensively were just, strong. So you couldn't take the ball to the basket. So even though Mitch wasn't getting blocks, I mean, he was a dominant force on the boards. He had 9 offensive rebounds in the game. So he is the best offensive rebounder in basketball, period. It's not even a debate. And now he's working on becoming the best rebounder in basketball. But he didn't have a block, but he had 4 steals. That's the type of game this game was. It was more of a, you got to, help cover the perimeter, help shore up the perimeter. And, man, Mitch Robinson, he's amazing, man. But I want to see that live more. I want to see more pick and roll with Randall Mitch. I think it could help Randall's game because maybe it could have forced mismatch on the 5 that can't guard the perimeter, and Randall could do his thing. And then also lobs for Mitch because, like I said, that was just beautiful. It was unexpected because we rarely see it. So I would like to see more of that. But we got some more chats coming in. Salute to everybody in the building. Hit that like button as you come in. This is episode 2 of This Week Inside the Knicks, right? Let's see what they're talking about. The problem with the team is the front office is into the waiting game. They're hesitant to pull the trigger for a superstar, though they have assets to make it happen. I'm going to talk about that. Okay, so in terms of the front office, I respect where you're coming from, Dwayne, but I have to disagree. The front office is doing an amazing job. Let me explain why I say the front office is doing an amazing job. Okay, so what we're seeing now, and I'm going to do a video on this, we're seeing the beginnings of a 90s Knicks era run. If you look at the 90s Knicks and you compare them to these Knicks starting off the 2020s, it's a lot of similarities. Yes, we don't have Pat Riley. Okay, we don't have Patrick Ewing, but we do have assets, Dwayne. And you said we have assets, but we're hesitant to pull the trigger. You have to understand that people were saying this about Donovan Mitchell last year, right? Can we all remember the Donovan Mitchell? And oh, we should have traded for Mitchell and da 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 da. Then the playoffs comes. We beat Mitchell in the first round. Now everybody's like, oh, some people are like, now they don't even want Mitchell. Some people still want Mitchell, but they're like, oh, it's not a bad thing if we don't get him. Patience is the key. When they built those 90s Knicks team, it didn't come in one offseason, boom, you pull a trade. There's no team besides the Toronto Raptors and the Warriors, but the Warriors already had a great team, that where you make a trade for one star and boom, now you're a champion. But even the Toronto Raptors, it wasn't an overnight thing. The Toronto Raptors won like 59 games the year before they got Kawhi. So we have to build to that point. It's a building process. So while I hear what you're saying about hesitation, no, the Knicks is being strategic because if you trade for a star player and it doesn't pan out, a la the Nets, a lot of different teams, a la the Sixers, right? Well, the Suns are still working. There's a lot of teams that traded for a star and it just didn't work out. So you want to make sure that first off, you have a star that wants to come to your team because that makes a deal easier. So like if you have somebody that says maybe not the Dame Lillard route where you're like, I'm not going to no team, but if you could keep it, behind the scenes hush and don't be so adamant of what team you want to go to, right? Then, you can go for a player like that. Because, people talk behind the scenes. We only know the surface stuff that's reported, right? So, but back to Dwayne's point in terms of them waiting, yes, it's more of being calculated. If you're winning 47 games, now let's say we win 49 games this year, you're trending in the right direction. And like we already said, there's rumors about Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell might become available. I mean, I'm not too high on Mitchell for many reasons, but if we can get Donovan Mitchell, I mean, you put him with Brunson and you keep Rand, or some of you probably don't want to keep Randall, some of you want to keep RJ. Whatever you do, right? You can do it that way without having to blow up the team, right? Keep your assets, right? So I hear what you're saying about the Knicks front office. They're doing a great job. Not to mention the salary cap. Not to mention, we have tradable contracts. We can literally get any player that's available that we want to. So you can't really say the general manager's doing a bad job. Randle simply sucks. Okay, I mean, listen, if you think Randle sucks, right? Keyboard, Money Mike, that's your opinion. I'm not going to change your opinion, but to the people that said he sucked because of the first 6 games and now he puts up 27 and then now we got 2 winnable games against Wemby and the Hornets, and if Randle balls out and does his thing, just stand on your square. I could appreciate that. I disagree. Randle doesn't suck. But yeah, we got to hold on to our players. No. Listen, IQ is going to ball out. No matter what, no matter where you play him. I mean, I know last night he only had 16 minutes. No, he had 20 minutes, but only 7 points, but he had 5 assists. These guys are going to get the opportunity to play, right? Sims and McBride, we know those guys I'm not saying they're untouchable, but those guys are not going anywhere right now, right? Ricky Chan, yeah, the pick and roll, man. Yo, let me tell you something. That pick and roll is going to be amazing. If they don't trade Jalen Brunson, if they don't trade Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson will walk in free agency. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It depends on if we lose. If Randle, all right. So let's say we go to the playoffs again, and Randle, besides injury, but like let's say Randle's 100% healthy or just not. He doesn't have any major injuries. He goes into the playoffs. He stinks up the bed. We get swept. Okay, maybe. But until that happens, I'm gonna hold off on that. Let's jump into the Spurs preview. And you guys can keep chatting. I'm gonna read your chats and we could talk. But I'm gonna jump into the Spurs Knicks preview. This is a very winnable game at home. I expect Mitch to have a big game. As you can see, the rookie Wemby, he's their everything. I mean, he's leading the team in 19.4 points, 8.4 rebounds. I like Trey Jones. Oh man, I'm a Duke fan too, guys. So Trey Jones, I support everybody that played for Dukes. Trey Jones, he's doing a great job there too. But to be honest, I mean the Spurs shouldn't beat us. I expect Jalen Brunson to go off and Randall to go off. I think that this would be the game that Dwayne that'll maybe not change your mind, but maybe will make you happy. The Spurs, they don't really do anything on an elite level. So, I mean, it's not like we have to worry about like the top tier perimeter defense. And that's another thing too. This is the first team that possibly won't make the playoffs that we're playing because I think Atlanta's going to make the playoffs. So, in those first 6 games, 7 games, we've been playing against really good teams, possibly an NBA champion. If you look at Milwaukee, if you look at the Celtics, right? Cleveland's not winning championship, but Cleveland, they're going to be a good team when they get their players back. I mean, part of their struggles is they got a lot of injuries, right? But screw them. You know, we don't care about no other team. We rock with the Knicks. But then the point that I'm saying is the Knicks have played against good teams. This is the first time we're getting a breather in the schedule. But I will say this, though. The Spurs do have a big team. Now you see Devin Vassell he's a game time decision. If they don't have Devin Vassell, they're gonna get blown out. Devin Vassell is the guy for them. He's their version of RJ. Like he's a shooter. Him and Johnson is another guy that's on that team that makes that engine go. They don't have Devin Vassell. They're probably gonna get smacked. I'm gonna keep it real. I've watched a couple of Spurs games. Wemby's impressive, but he's not there yet. People are blowing up the Suns game when he had 38. I saw that game. I mean, he's going up against KD. KD's not a good defender. You know, he's not someone that values defense like that. But let's see what they're talking about. You're still talking about Julius Randle. Julius Randle will not be able to handle playing with Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell at the same time. That's possibly true. And that's part of the reason why I don't want Donovan Mitchell. But now if you're asking, what do you guys think? Do you prefer Mitchell and Brunson, or without Randall, or do you prefer RJ with Brunson and Mitchell? I think that's personal preference. To be honest, if you're doing a trade, the Cavs might take Randall. Maybe they'll move on from the Fro because the Fro hasn't been the Fro. You put Allen at the 5 with Randall. Maybe that's something that the Cavs would consider. But I don't honestly. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. We'll see, because you're thinking that there's a problem with Randall and Brunson. We'll see. But Ricky Chan, we match up well against. Yeah, I mean they have a very big lineup. But if Vassell's not playing, they probably start Jones. But they start the Sohan kid. Let's pull up some of their last couple of games. Let's see. This is their last 5. Let's pull up. They got smacked by the Pacers. They got smacked by Obi Toppin in them. Let's see. I didn't even get a chance to watch this game. Obi Toppin. He had 19 points, no rebounds, of course. But they smacked the Spurs 152-111. Let's see. So they start Brand. This kid. Oh, okay, I don't really know this kid. Malik Brand. Okay. Well, he whoever they start, they're getting worked out. It doesn't matter who the Spurs start, right? They definitely gonna get worked out. But yeah, they Sohan, Johnson, and Vassell normally. So they Sohan is like 6'8". So they have a big starting 5, but that shouldn't, I'm not really worried about Sohan from an offensive perspective. He's not going to give you nothing. Now, Johnson and Vassell definitely can score. Wemby does what he does. And Zach Collins, I'm not worried about Zach Collins, though he is a solid big. So I think we'll be fine against the Spurs. The past games, do you want to talk about the past games? The Bucks, like we already concluded that without RJ, that's the reason why we lost. But we should be able to beat the Spurs. Let's see, Dwayne, what you talking about? How many of us thought the Knicks were going to win this game the way they were playing? I did. Dwayne, I thought the Knicks were going to win. I'm going to keep it real. I had a show titled yesterday, the reason why Julius Randle was playing bad. I was going to get into that. And one of the things I was going to say is we were going to beat the Clippers tonight because I already knew the matchup with Randle. No one was going to be able to guard him. So I knew that Randle was going to have a bounce-back game, and I knew that RJ was going to play. So with RJ and Randle having a bounce-back game, yeah, that's enough to beat the Clippers, especially because they never played with each other before. That at home, you don't lose a game like that. So, I mean, yeah, I thought that, Dwayne. And I'm the objective fan. I'm not a stan, so I'm not a fanboy that just thinks we're going to win. I honestly, based off of rationale, I knew that we would beat them. So, yeah. just to give you some slight pushback. Not that I'm picking on you, but you're the one that's chatting some good stuff in the chat. Let's see, do want to talk about. Now, one of the things that we may have to worry about is RJ Barrett's injury, because he missed his game against the Bucks. But um, he definitely his swelling has not gone down. I mean, he still has that issue, and it might be a lingering issue for a while. We're gonna need. I mean, I'm not gonna say we're gonna need him against the Spurs, but it'll be nice to have him against the Spurs. And also salute to RJ Barrett for hitting the 5,000 career points. He's the youngest Knick to do it. And he did something that not even Ewan did it. So salute to RJ being the youngest Knick to hit 5,000 points. I forgot to add that. RJ said that it's pretty cool, and it's just a testament of the work. He trusts the organization and all his coaches, so he's just going to continue to work. And Grayfield came out for the win. Yeah, RJ Barrett is the last player I'm worried about. And I had a couple of RJ Barrett videos that people got on me about because I said that RJ Barrett won. I compared him and Ja Morant. Go watch that video. I'm not going to explain it. But I was just talking about trajectories. And then I also did a video about RJ Barrett will continue to prove you wrong. And he's doing that. And he's going to continue. He's just going to get better and better. So yeah, Jalen Brunson. Salute to Jalen Brunson with the 45 points. I do want to give a highlight to that. I mean, I don't really care about stats in a losing effort, but I like the fact that he shook his slump. Josh Hart also got out of his slump too. He was worried. He was definitely feeling the effects. All of these articles will be on the website. Definitely check it out. I'm not going to really get into it because we touched on some of these things. Josh Hart broke out of his slump. Cavs, we already know. We'll talk a little bit about Glittergate. That was kind of crazy. Never seen nothing like that before. Everybody, the players, everything was wiping the glitter up off the floor. That was pretty interesting. Glittergate, that'll go down in weird Knick history. That game was just a weird game, too. And then, of course, we beat the Cavs. So let's get into some word on the street. Salute to everybody that's still rocking with me. The podcast, we definitely moving forward. Any comments you got, I'll read them. Whether it's on the current topic or the previous topic. Salute to everybody in the building, man. This has been another great episode. Dwayne, I appreciate you, man. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we touched on that. We thought the Knicks were gonna do good. So we're gonna get into some word on the street. This is what a lot of you guys who watch the channel, I do these polls. I don't care about the Pelicans. Let's see whatever polls. So we got here the Knicks sporting a 2-3 record heading to Friday's game against the Bucks. Are you a concerned Knicks fan? Let's see what the voting was. I put no. Oh, I gotta sign in. Oh man. Hold on. I'ma sign in. Doop. Let me sign in right quick so we can see these word on the streets. Salute to everybody in the building. You in the right place. We're talking about the Knicks and last night's Knicks, and we're going to get into some word in the street right now. All right, cool. I'm logged in. So let's put it back on the screen. Make sure we good. Yeah, everything good. All right, so let's scroll back down to where we was at, and we're going to scroll up. So we were right here. And so it's funny, like this poll changed because a lot of you guys came after the game and put yes. This was actually more people said no. But yeah, people, a good amount of people were concerned. And I was concerned too without RJ. And so, okay, let's see what Dwayne's talking about. The biggest problem with Julius Randle is he not a team first player. I disagree with that. I think that he's not a vocal leader. I think he's more of a leadership by example type of guy, and I talked about that last season. And then Randle actually confirmed what I said. He did a podcast with Paul Pierce. He was on Podcast P, and he said that he's more of a leader by example. So I do think he's a team first player. I just don't think he's the leader that you want him to be. He's not the vocal guy that's going to galvanize you and say, hey, let's get into it. He's going to put up 27, 10, and 5 and say, watch my lead. That's more of his style. He's been getting a good amount of assists too. So he was passing the ball when he wasn't shooting good. So what has been the most efficient, the frustrating thing? I said the inability to close games, which they did good last night. But a lot of you guys, and Dwayne, you probably voted on this, 197 votes. 81% of people say Randle's shooting inefficiency. So he changed that last game. So can you give him some grace? No, Dwayne, you don't have to give him grace because Dwayne, you have been consistent. This has 20 comments. Let's look at some of these comments. Um, let's see. We do this every year. You have to change our behavior. That's a fact. Yeah, we do need to stop the slow starts, but it's a part of. And Lloyd. So Dwayne, you got some more people that's rocking with you. Randall does go. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Randall wants to diminish his trade value. Wow, man. Let's see. Anything else? Salute to Kenny. He said outdated roster construction and win now pieces and let these young guys go. Randall, RJ should have been broken up. I disagree with that. You extended RJ as soon as you signed Brunson. The English is kind of broken. Quick should have got a deal. Quick didn't get the deal because Quick wanted more than what they were willing to give him. Quick wanted 105. Knicks wanted to give him like 82, something like that. Salute to Ricky Chan. RJ is an all-star this year. He gets to the rim and now shoots free throw. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. He could definitely be an all-star this year. For sure. I think that he's going to be more efficient. And if he's getting up to 23 plus points a game and the Knicks are winning, like if the Knicks is like a top 4 team, that might be good enough to get 2 all-stars in there. Let's see. Randall sucks, but somehow RJ turned into an all-star over 5 games. What? JP, I agree. But don't give that energy to Ricky Chan because Ricky Chan didn't say I don't remember him saying anything bad about Randall. So let's not go there. But I do agree though that to the fickle Knicks fans, not none of you guys in the chat, right? Randall sucks, but Randall's turned into an all-star over 5 games. I agree with that logic. I do agree with that logic. You can't say Randall sucks and then turn around and say, I agree with that. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I'm not co-signing that. Ricky Chan is not co-signing that. Ricky Chan believes in RJ. I don't know how he feels about Julius Randle. So he didn't make that false comparison. He didn't go there. He didn't pull out that logical fallacy. Maybe if if he wants to explain himself, he can, and we can see where he's coming from. But that energy just doesn't go to him. So let's see more stuff. Let's see all of the above. I agree with this comment. I think everything was something that has been frustrating. You know, the winless at home, inability to close games, Randall's shooting inefficiencies. Okay, so let's see. And Randall needs to go. So Randall has a lot of people that doesn't like keyboard. Yeah, keyboard is different. Yeah. Keyboard. I address keyboard. I told him. I said, Randall. There's no way Randall can suck. Like, how does that? How do you go from 2-time All NBA All Star, right? He got injured in the playoffs. The man had surgery right after the playoffs. The man was not 100% in the playoffs. I agree he does need to play better, but you can't use that to say that the man sucks. That can't be the barometer. Or at least that shouldn't be the barometer, right? So, hey, I can't control the chat, JGP, but I do agree with that. Randall does not suck. Trust me, I defend everybody on this team when it comes to people saying things that are just not, doesn't make any logical sense. RJ definitely, Randall definitely is still that guy. He's just coming off ankle surgery. This is not NBA 2K. People think that this is NBA 2K. So, let's see. Can I back out of this? Let's back out. Let's look at some more comments. Let's see. So, and then what was the most impressive thing about? I posted it this morning. So, I'm gonna say that the 18 offensive rebounds, man. And yeah, 57% fair. Okay, so 69 votes thus far. Definitely hit this poll up. I'm curious to see what you guys think. So 69 votes, 57% say that offensive rebounds was the most impressive. They had 18 offensive rebounds. 10% say they had 3-point defense, and 28% says Julius Randle shooting. So Julius Randle got a little bit of love. Knicks fans media gave Ap Ewing the same smoke and worse, especially when he was getting divorced. It's weird. That's true. Hey, but you know what? You can't. I'm not even gonna go there. But you're right, though. You're right. I just don't think that we should go to that extreme when we have really good players on that team, because you got to understand, after Melo left, And even in the final years of Melo, the Knicks wasn't a good team. We were mediocre, man. So when you got young, talented guys, I feel like you should, celebrate them more than you tear them down, especially when you're playing winning basketball. The season has just begun. There's not enough games to see if this team is playing winning basketball. Let's get to 20 games. Let's get to 30 games. Let's get to 40 games. But you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Dwayne, I'm cool with Randall. I'm just saying the things that the naked eye can't see. Randall's game is one dimensional. That's not true. Randall's game is not one dimensional. I disagree with that. And Tom Tibbs' one dimensional coaching style. I mean, if you're saying that Tom Tibbs' coaching style is one dimensional because he excels on the defensive end, uh, I disagree. I mean, remember the Knicks were like fourth place in offensive rating last year. Hold on, let's pull that up right quick. So on this podcast, we do research. We stay in research mode because we here for the smoke. So when people are talking, and we want to make sure we're accurate, right? And salute to Dwayne, man. He's definitely um been very active. But last year, right, and this is the Knicks 2023, right? 47 games. Let's look at their offensive rate. So they were third in offensive rating, last year. So, they were 19th in defensive rating. Even though I think that they were a solid defensive team, and I'm not really the advanced stat guy, but I mean, if you say Coach Tibbs is a defensive coach, but they finished third in offensive rating, and a lot of that was due to the offensive rebounding and them not turning over the ball and stuff like that. How do you say the man's one dimensional? But going back to Randall, Randall is first off. Let's since we're talking about Randall, let's pull up Randall. We got to understand what we're dealing with when we talk about Julius Randle, right? So we're gonna go. I don't care about this year because y'all gonna look at this 15.6 this year and say, oh, Randall, he's not playing well this year. It's only been 6 games. It's not enough games. It's not enough sample size to really, critique. So let's go to let's see. Where we at? I didn't want the game line. Hold on. Let's back out. I want to pull up his stats. So he was averaging 25, right? 10 rebounds. How are you one dimensional when you're averaging 25 and 10? That's automatically 2 dimensions. I don't want to even get to the 4 assists, right? I don't want to get to the fact that only the MVPs, the last recent MVPs, average 20 plus 10 plus 4. How do you say Randall's one dimensional? I disagree with that. I agree, JJP. How are you going to denigrate arguably your best player? He is the best player. Until somebody else gets an all-star, all-NBA, he's the best player. And I think Jalen Brunson has the potential to be the best player. But until he gets an all-star with an all-NBA, I'm going with the guy that's got that. I'm going with the guy who's the most economical all-NBA, all-star in the league, who we're fortunate enough to have, who actually wanted to be a Knick and has been putting in work. You can't, yes, okay, the 1 year off, 1 year on. This little 15.6, his rebounds and assists are pretty much the same. The points will get there. Don't worry about that. Randall could go on a stretch, and he has gone on a stretch where he had, averages of 30 points in like a 10-game stretch. So I'm not worried about Randall. But Randall is definitely the best player on the team, and it's not a debate, unless you want to debate it. And then we could debate. That's a fact, Ricky Chan. We need him to win 50 games. We need everybody. That's why I don't understand the Knicks fans who have these certain players they like and they don't like other players, and it's crazy to me. We need everybody to be effective. We need everybody to be solid, right? Let's see. We need to win 50 games. Dwayne, you can't give Tom Tibb credit because Julius Randle all of a sudden decided to show up, play last night. That had nothing to do with coaching. It was about Randle stop sulking like a kid. Okay. I know you ain't talking about me because I don't sulk. So I guess they're having a back and forth in the chat. Salute to them. But yeah, Coach Tibbs deserves credit. You know why Coach Tibbs deserves credit? One, he didn't because a lot of the times when we blown those close games, it's Coach Tibbs' fault. he wasn't making adjustments, and I'm not going to say it's only his fault because the players also have to execute, so it's a combination of both. I don't like to put everything on one guy. Just like last night, yeah, I'm not putting it all on Randle or RJ. Everybody did what they had to do. It's a team effort, so it's a team effort in wins and in losses. So Coach Tibbs, you know, I felt like his adjustments in the fourth, him sticking with the bench for a little while, even though he did go back to the starters pretty, soon after the Clippers went to their starters, but him sticking with the bench and putting those guys in position to do what they did last night, I'm giving Coach Tibbs that credit. I'm giving Coach Tibbs the credit of, okay, Clippers is they're bowing out. Nope, I'm keeping my starters on the floor because I need to ensure a win tonight. So I think it's a combination of both, and I think Randle just was comfortable last night coming back home. Uh, he did, he attacked the basket when he could. He took advantage of the smaller defenders that were guarding him from Kawhi to PJ Tucker, no match. So sorry about that. So I think that Randle did it's a combination. It's everybody working together. Okay, so Dwayne, look at his energy first 6 games, and look at his energy last night. Yeah, I mean, it's easier to have great energy when you're playing well. I mean, it's just that simple. You know what I'm saying, Dwayne? Salute. I mean, salute to you, and listen, I'm glad you're staying strong on your points, but salute to you. I want to wrap up the podcast shortly. We're getting to that 50-minute mark, but salute to you, yo, Dwayne. Salute to you. I respect the fact that you are strong in your opinion. I just I disagree with you, buddy. Let's see what Ricky Chan's talking about. Julius Randle. You talked about was said to have folded last year's playoffs because he was injured. Give the man credit. He played through the injury. Exactly, Ricky Chan. Exactly. Give the man credit. How many All NBA All Stars are sitting on their butts? I can't go tonight. I can't go tonight. I can't go. I got to worry about my future. I got to worry about let me get the surgery now, right? Because this would have been the smart thing for Randle to do. That's a good point, Ricky. Let me go get the surgery now. So off season comes, I could have a full, I could get my surgery, my rehab early, right? And then, because I think that took like a month or two, and then I could get into my normal off season workout. That would have been the selfish thing for Randle to do. It would have been bad for the Knicks because we needed him. But at the same time, he played through injury. Great point, Ricky. I agree with that. I actually did a video on that. Yes, Randle, you have to give him credit. You have to give him credit. You have to give him credit. Definitely keep chatting. Listen, whatever you say, I'll respond to at this point. Even though we're pushing that 50-minute mark, I do want to give a little. I want to talk to our haters for a second. I want to talk to Charlse Barkley, and Karl-Anthony Towns. I already debunked this. Let's get into his comments. I think the Knicks need to do something. Barkley said, "You see how this movie's going to end." But for me, the Knicks are like, we play hard with solid, he said, but they're not contenders. So if I'm them, I'm like, I've got to do something. All those draft picks we got, what are we saving them for? Go out and make a move because you got to say to yourself, we're not in the conversation with Boston and Milwaukee. So real quick, I'm gonna comment to this and I'm gonna comment to Gilbert Arenas, right? Because I did a video on Gil. Once again, and Charlse Barkley's an OG. It's kind of interesting that he's taking his take. When you talk about Boston and Milwaukee, it took them years to get there. Boston and Milwaukee didn't just come up overnight, and now we're contenders. Tatum and Brown have been going at it for the past 6-7 years. Milwaukee, you can say the same thing. The Knicks have just made the playoff 2 out of the last 3 years. Give the Knicks the same time you give Milwaukee and Boston. Boston is fortunate to draft Tatum and Brown. Milwaukee's fortunate to draft Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Knicks, we ain't got that fortunate to draft these levels of guys. I mean, we got RJ. I'm not saying he's on their level, but at the same time, the Boston and Milwaukee are under different circumstances, and it still took them time to get there, Mr. Barkley. So there's no rush. When you have a young team, you take your time to build until that star makes himself present. Right now, there is no stars available. Joel Embiid is not coming to the Knicks this year. That's over. That's done with. The closest star we can get is and it's not going to happen this year, is going to be Donovan Mitchell. Okay? So let's see. And then I want to close out on Gilbert Arenas. So if you guys didn't see the video, you can check it out. It's on the channel. Gilbert Arenas says that the Knicks suck, and I challenge his whole logic. Right? Definitely check out that video. But Gilbert Arenas said something on his podcast. He said that the Clippers should win 30 games in a row. Right? The Clippers should win 30 games in a row because they have all of these Hall of Fame All-Star talent, right? But we smacked them last night. Granted, it was their first game. But Mr. Gilbert Arenas, haven't you forgot that you said that the Knicks suck because they play small? What did the Clippers play last night? They definitely didn't play big. And then your boy, PJ Tucker, who you said is too small to play the 5 and the 4, spent time at the 5, and he spent time at the 4. So, yeah, Gilbert Arenas, I just want to I'm on your head, boy. And I hope he sees my videos. And I want to get into a back and forth with him because he thinks that he could just expose people. Listen, man, I'm the objective fan. Yes, I'm the objective Knicks fan. I bleed orange and blue. Check out the shop. But I am the objective fan. I watch all NBA. So I don't just know the Knicks. And, that panel, they spew a lot of logical fallacies. So we get ready to wrap up. Let's see what the chat's talking about. Salute to the chat. This has been the most popping chat we've had during the podcast. Similar to the live play-by-plays. Let's see. Julius used the mama mentality last year in the playoffs. Facts. Give your team everything when it looks bleak. Facts. Ricky Chan, I agree with you the most in the chat, though JJP also has some good points as well. I agree. Julius Randle definitely activated his inner Mamba mentality. We saw Kobe play with broken, dislocated fingers, and I think he had an Achilles injury, and he played through that, and that was like kind of rough and tough. So yeah, Randle, he definitely comes through that whole Kobe is my vet experience. So, and I think that a little bit of Kobe is definitely rubbed off on him. So, any final thoughts in the chat? Anything you want to talk about? I talked about the haters. I talked about Karl-Anthony Towns. Like, come on, bro. Towns hasn't done nothing in the past 4 years. I haven't really watched him this year. I will, as I do my NBA research. But I'm pretty sure, if he makes an All-Star, All-NBA, Randle's done it twice in the past 3 years. So I guess Towns, this will be his first one if he can make it. Let's see. Oh, salute to you, Ricky Chan. Definitely. This I don't normally go live on Tuesdays, but I probably will start going live more mornings around this time. Salute to you, Ricky Chan. Thanks for the sub. I do this podcast. Typically, it comes out on Mondays. Sometimes I do it live. Most of the time I pre-record it. And so I just wanted to I needed to get a podcast out for this week. I didn't want another week to go by without one. So salute to you, Ricky Chan. I appreciate that. Definitely salute to Dwayne, Maxine, even though I didn't see you chat in a while, JJP. Salute to everyone in the building. Keyboard Money Mike. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button so more Knicks fans can check out the channel. We pretty much covered a lot. We really unpacked this Clippers game. We talked about Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, everybody, all the current Knicks stuff, some stuff from last week. Give a little shout to Mr. Barkley, Gilbert Arenas. So salute to everybody, man. We getting ready to wrap up. And if you guys ain't got nothing else to say, definitely going to end the stream now. So big up to everybody. And until next time, let's go.